This Thursday, Istanbul is set to host what might be either a watershed moment or yet another operatic stutter in the global battle of posturing, brinkmanship, and bluff. President Zelensky has declared he will attend. President Putin has suggested that he might, but he's on the way to Iran. President Trump said that he could. And President Erdogan, as ever, plays the maître d' at a table where the guests haven't confirmed. Welcome to the most consequential diplomatic maybe in modern memory. Zelensky has been clear he will meet Putin and only Putin, not Lavrov, not Shoigu, and certainly not some Z-list Kremlin envoy. It's the warlord or no one. For Zelensky, this is high-stakes gamble playing. If Putin shows, there's hope. If he doesn't, it exposes Russian bad faith and grants Ukraine the moral high ground once more. Putin, meanwhile, has floated the idea of a trip to Iran. That's not a scheduling conflict, it's a diplomatic smoke bomb, the global equivalent of, sorry, I might have a dental appointment. It allows him to avoid looking weak while ducking the prospect of an equal footing encounter with Zelensky. And then there's Donald Trump, never knowingly under-publicized. Trump has dangled the possibility of joining the summit, as if peace in Europe might hinge on whether he has brunch plans in Abu Dhabi or could drop off in Istanbul on the way to the Pope's inaugural Mass on Sunday. Let's be clear, Trump needs a win. His first 100 days in office have been a catalogue of inertia and chaos, most of it caused by him. A photo of Trump brokering peace, even if for a few days, between Zelensky and Putin, flanked by doves naturally, would be political gold. He could frame it as his Camp David moment, albeit with more marble, fewer maps and better lighting. Zelensky, after 3 punishing years of war, badly needs something more than solidarity and sanctions. If nothing else, the optics of a willing Ukrainian president standing awaiting an elusive Russian counterpart underscore Ukraine's consistent readiness for diplomacy. Putin, by contrast, is entrenched in a war economy, a wartime narrative, and a system increasingly sustained by militarism and repression, and a peace deal would require a fundamental rewiring of the Kremlin's propaganda machine. His entire re-election platform was predicated on being a wartime czar. To pivot would be politically suicidal, or at the very least rhetorically impossible, without a stage concession that looked like his own idea. Hence the delay, the deflection, the dithering. Erdogan, to his credit or cunning, doesn't need the summit at all. He already has a diplomatic feather in his cap. The PKK's announcement of a final end to their armed struggle is domestic gold dust. Hosting peace talks merely gilds the lily. Turkey looks statesmanlike, neutral, and indispensable whether or not anyone shows up. It's tempting to romanticize Istanbul as the city of accord, the place where a ceasefire could rise from the Bosphorus like some Ottoman phoenix, but the reality is more brittle. Talks in Istanbul were held in 2022 and ended in stalemate. Moscow's recent overtures are not without conditions, and they still demand Ukrainian neutrality, NATO avoidance, and tacit acceptance of territorial theft. It's not a roadmap to peace, but a diktat masquerading as diplomacy. And even now, as Putin claims to accept talks without preconditions, his emissaries reiterate maximalist positions. It is, to quote Swedish analysts, the diplomacy of déjà vu. And yet, the symbolic power of this summit is undeniable. If Putin fails to attend now, the world sees a leader more committed to imperial delusion than to peace. Zelensky has called his bluff. Zelensky has played a brilliant hand, brilliantly. If Trump inserts himself, the summit becomes a theatre of ego, but one that could inadvertently create the conditions for progress simply by raising the stakes. Trump's offer to attend makes it much, much harder for Putin to refuse. Let's not be fooled by the choreography. Peace is not forged in 5-star hotels, even in disused Ottoman palaces, but sometimes the performance matters. Sometimes showing up becomes the message. Zelensky is showing up. Erdogan has set the stage. Trump, as always, teeters on the edge of reality and self-promotion. And Putin, he may retreat to Tehran, but he cannot retreat forever. Because a war designed to be won in 3 days has lasted 3 years. And a few days' delay now changes little on the ground, but the symbolism of diplomacy, even postponed, may alter the course of history. So, we wait for Thursday, for Istanbul, for the unpredictable theatre of this global menace to roll its dice once more. Perhaps it will be peace. Perhaps it will be more prevarication. But whatever it is, it will matter. And there's a timeline. And it's Thursday.